in the Xactmacola space since back in 2013 when we began the integration process with the Attivo Group. We wrote this integration as a PCI compliant solution for Xactmacola users to process their credit cards inside of Xactmacola. The focus here is, of course, on data security and ensuring that all of your card information is not stored locally on your system, but stored on our cloud in a safe PCI compliant environment. We've sponsored at the Exact Evolve show for the past 2 years, and this year in Atlanta will be our 3rd year. If you're planning to attend, please stop by and see us. We'd love to put your face to your name, of course. So moving on to the agenda for today. I'll first both introduce the Attivo and Century team members who you'll generally be working with. I already went through kind of the main roots of the partnership between Century and Attivo and how we got started. I'm going to cover a few key details about the Xactmacola integration using the module eBizCharge for Xactmacola. You will then see a quick demo of the module and its functionality. After that, we'll discuss the new enhancement we're introducing, eBizCharge Connect. The combination of eBizCharge for Xactmacola and eBizCharge Connect create our new brand, eBizCharge Suite. We will then demo that piece, then end with some Q&A. During the presentation, you'll have the ability to send in a question through the participant window in the WebEx. That will be answered during the Q&A portion, or you'll have the ability to raise your hand and we'll get through as many questions as the allotted time allows us. So moving into our team members here. We have myself, of course, and Stephen Wolfson. We're both senior relationship managers with Century Business Solutions and manage all the merchants in the Xactmacola space. The most important team members as well are our supporting cast here, Mr. John Brennan with the Attivo Group, and one of our support members here at Century, Vanessa Quinn. The eBizCharge for Xactmacola application will be demoed shortly, but I want to touch on some key features really quickly. In the Xactmacola application, you'll have the ability to process credit card payments directly inside of Xactmacola. This happens with O-type and I-type orders as well as your outstanding AR. This feature will also mark your invoices paid upon running your daily updates, eliminating most of your data, your double data entry, excuse me. This integration, of course, we wrote it to be completely tokenized, so none of your credit card data is stored locally on your system. When you run a credit card inside of Xactmacola, our back-end payment gateway, eBizCharge, encrypts the card information and sends a token back into Xactmacola to be stored for future use. Once a credit card is run, no one can ever unlock the full card information again, but we can access the token for repeat transactions. And instead of me trying to go through and explain every detail to you, we think a more hands-on approach will work better. So at this point, what I'd like to do is introduce Mr. John Brennan from the Attivo Group to show you a quick demo of the functionality of eBizCharge for Xactmacola. So like we like to say on our calls, it's John Brennan time.
Thank you very much, Bryce. Let's see if we can't get this thing started here, and I'm going to do get it up and running. Very good. A couple of things we want to do today. The first thing we want to do is show you the integration between eBiz and the Macola product. We're working with Macola ES today. We're going to do an O-type order. We're going to do an I-type order. Then we're going to show you how we can process payments against existing invoices that were not submitted using the credit card application. So let's start out, and we're going to start out by creating an order after I get it up. And we're going to go into a sales order. And just going through the normal process of processing a sales order, we're going to tab and we're going to put in an F5. And we're going to add a customer. One of the things I want you to notice is we've added the customer. We have a default CC, which is a credit card. So what we're saying here is once I've added CC, that means I want to trigger the credit card application once I get done completing the order. If I didn't have one in here, if I had set the default up, for instance, for Net 30, I could process a transaction just as if I always have. If I had Net 30, but I still wanted to make it a credit card transaction, I simply change the terms code to CC. So let's go down and we're going to add an item. Now, what that sticky thing is. Let's try this again. There we go. And we're only going to ship one of these. We're going to keep it pretty simple. We exit out of this, and the next thing you're going to see is where we're able to select the card. And I say select the card, but we're not really selecting the card. All we're doing is selecting the token. As Bryce said, we really don't store any credit card information on the server. What we're doing is we're actually selecting the token. That what we're going to do is send this down to eBiz, and they're going to send us back the information to process this transaction. I hit submit. And the next thing we see is the process CC transaction. We're not going to process the transaction at this point in time, but what we are going to do is we're going to pre-authorize this transaction. That means we're going to encumber the customer's card so that we make sure that when we go to process the transaction and go to the billing process, we're going to make sure the customer has the funds. Next thing I want to do is we're going to get down here where it says freight amount. Now, probably we don't know what the freight amount is right away, so we're going to let's put $100 in here, suggesting that at some point in time we are going to have to add freight. What this does is this allows us to, again, encumber the customer's card for what we anticipate the entire charge to be. We'll be able to change this shortly. And next thing we're going to do is we want to process this authorization now. Here's where we're going to process the pre-authorization, and we actually see that the transaction has been approved. I'm going to select OK. And that takes care of this part of the transaction. So we're going to go back in, and now let's go in and actually build that transaction. And we're going to select the order. And it's order number 307. And we're going to bill all of the items on this date. And you'll notice we now have that freight charge at $100 in here because that's what we submitted when we sent the pre-authorization in. Well, we decided we only have a $50 freight charge, and that's about all we need to do. Next thing we're going to see is the pre-authorization. Now, we've already run the pre-authorization, and it's telling us it found it, and it found it for the amount that we put in as far as the pre-authorization was concerned, so we're going to use this. Once we pull this up, the next thing we see again is the Process CC transaction screen. Now, we've noticed that the freight amount is now 50. And now we have the ability to put a cash post date in here. As you probably understand, you're not going to get your money right away. So if I process a credit card transaction today and it's after 4 o'clock, it's going to take 2 days to get the money. If you process it and close the batch before 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, you're going to show it the next day. You're never going to get it today. What this allows you to do is change the cash posting date in Macola so that now you're able to tie the GL account out to the transactions that you're going to be seeing from your bank. Next thing is we have the email receipt piece where we're going to be able to add the email receipt and send the email to the customer or to another email client. You're able to select the customer's email address or multiple addresses using a comma separator. Now that we're done, let's process this sale now. And that's it. That's all you need to do. You've just processed this transaction. Now, we still need to go in and print and post the invoice, but we're going to wait for just a moment to do that. We're going to cancel this out, and we're going to go back in, and we're going to process another order. Only this time we're going to process an I-type order. A little bit different. An I-type order obviously is an invoice-type order, a counter sale, for instance. And we're going to process it for the same customer. And again, you'll notice it still says CC. And we're going to do another one because they're going to take it with them this time. And we're going to go through basically the same process. And we're going to select OK, but now what we're going to be able to do is we're actually going to be able to submit. And we're going to use Carla again. And what you're going to notice here is that the pre-authorization is no longer lit. We're going to process this sale now. They're going to take it with them. We're going to charge the card at the time that they purchase the item on a counter sale. So we're going to say, yep, we're going to do this. So we're going to process this sale now. This is even simpler than having to go through the billing process. Again, we're done. So those are the two things that we wanted to cover right up front. Let's go back and process those transactions. We want to print out the invoices. And we want to make sure we select and 308. We're going to print them both out here. And it may take just a minute for them to print. So as we're waiting for them to print, what we've just done is just actually processed those two transactions. We've really taken care of the posting of the information. We've sent the information to eBiz. Now we have the credit card. One of the things you're going to notice down here at the bottom, we have a zero balance invoice. We have the charge, plus we have the payment. And let's show the next one as well. There we go. So we processed both of these, and you can see how relatively simple this is. We're going to get out of here. And of course, they did print correctly. And let's go back, and we're going to post these items. And we're just going to select all. One of the things I want you to notice in the upper left-hand corner, you'll notice not only does it post the invoice, it also posts the cash transaction. That cash transaction is posted at the same time as the invoice is posted, and what that does is that actually takes care of the matching process in the customer card. You don't need to go in and match that. So that's pretty much it. If we're working from inside of Macola, let's say we're not going to be working from inside Macola. Let's get out of here. And now what we want to do is we want to go and actually access some of our customers' open cards or open transactions using AR Cash. So now what we see is a screen with all of our customers, our customer number 903, all of their charges. And what we want to be able to do now is we want to be able to say, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to actually process this transaction. So we're going to select one of them we want to process. And it's 113. So what we're going to say is we want to process the total amount selected for $7,492, and we're going to submit this. Again, we're going to select credit card. And we get the same information. The one thing we don't get is the posting date down here in the lower left-hand side, but we are still able to process the email receipt. Also, we're not going to do a pre-authorization because much as we did with the I-type order, we're simply processing the transaction immediately. So we're going to process this sale now. And we're done. And the Macola transaction is successful. All right, let's go back in, and what I want to do is I want to go back into customer 903, so we're going to go back into accounts receivable. And we're going to go to customer maintain, to cards. Let's go take a look at customer 901, which is where we processed our first two transactions. And we're going to go to match. And one of the things you see is, well, there's no payment. We don't have a payment here. And that's because we're looking at the unmatched. If we go and take a look at all of them, what we'll see down here are the two transactions. The first one shows a payment and the invoice, and the second one shows a payment and the invoice as well. Automatically taken care of. You don't have to do that process. Let's, however, go and take a look at customer 903. This is going to be a bit different. That's a transaction, so let's go take a look at the match screen. Now we know we've got the amount of money in there. That's this one right here. Now we simply have to go over to the right side and find it. Here it is right here. And simply do the matching process. and that takes care of it. The reason is because when we're actually looking at a customer's card and we're taking care of paying some of the prior invoices, we can select any amount we want, and we don't necessarily need to assign it to just a single invoice. So if we were to pay 3 or 4 invoices and we wanted to pay a little bit on each one of them, we would actually need to come in here and do the matching process, and that's why we do that. The same as you would if you were receiving a check that paid multiple invoices. So that's pretty much it for right now. I'd like to turn this back over to Bryce or to Vanessa and take it from here.
All right, perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and take over. So what I'm going to show you guys now is actually where all of your transactions that you process within Macola, where they actually go to. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up a web browser here. So this is your payment gateway. So all of the transactions that you guys process within Macola, this is where they're actually going to go to. So this is more of an administrative reporting tool where you can research all of your transactions. It is web-based, so anywhere where you can access an internet browser, you can pull up eBizCharge and take a look at those transactions. We can create as many usernames and passwords to be able to access the gateway as each customer needs, and we can restrict certain permission levels. So if there are things that you don't want certain users to have access to, we can go ahead and set that up for you. So I'm going to go ahead and log in, and the first thing that I am going to see when I get in here is my current day's batch. So these are all of the transactions that I've ran as of today that just haven't settled out yet. Now, the batch is set to auto-close every day at 8:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but we can, of course, adjust that. We can make it earlier, make it later, whenever you want your batch to close. You do also have the option to manually close your batch by clicking the button here that says Close This Batch. So whichever one you would prefer. Do you want it to auto-close on its own, or do you want to come in and take a look at everything and then manually close it? Now, the transactions come into the gateway in real time. So that AR cash that we did for $7,000 is here. There are 2 invoices, one for $14.95, the other one for $15.45. They show up right here for us, and it does give us the invoice number. Now, every transaction that you do process does have a Details tab next to it. So I can go into the details of any previous transaction, and I can see in this case this one is a sale. It's authorized and is pending settlement. So once the batch settles out at the end of the day, that changes to settled. You have your address, zip code, security code verification. Your invoice number that comes from Macola does carry into the gateway along with your customer number and the order number and things like that. You can also print or email a copy of the receipt at any given time. So if you've emailed your customer their receipt when you process the transaction, but they call you back a week later or a month later and they tell you that they can't find it, you can come in here, pull up their transaction, and you can print or email it. Another nice little feature that we do have is the related activity bar. So this is actually going to show you the running history on this particular credit card. So you can actually see all of the transactions that you've run for this particular customer. If you want to go into the details, all you need to do is click on the date and the dollar amount. And here's the transaction that you ran. It's a sale, but it's already been settled. Again, we still have the address, zip code, security code, invoice number, customer number, and I can still print or email a copy of the receipt right from here. The Batches tab is what's always going to bring you back to your current day's batch. So this is going to show you the transactions that you ran as of today. We're actually going to archive all of your history from the day that you start processing. So if I click on the down arrow where it says current batch here, I can actually look up any previous date. All I need to do is select the day, hit view, and here's the batch that I settled for this day. So $27.50 is what I processed. I can still go into the details of any of these transactions as well. The Reports tab is going to allow you to search for errors, declines, or sales. So if you ever get an error or decline inside of your system, you can come in here and look at the research log. Most commonly, though, it's going to be your sales by date. So unlike your current day's batch where you can only do one day at a time, through here you can actually do a date range. So you could do a week, a month, 6 months, whatever it is that you're looking for. You can also feel free to print, email, or export any of the reports that you find through your gateway. Now the search tab here is something that really comes in handy. So any information that you have that ties back to a charge is searchable through here. So you can use the last 4 digits of a credit card number, you could use a customer's name, you could use an invoice number, an authorization code if you happen to have that. Any information that you have, you can type in here. So if I just want to type in the last 4 digits of a credit card number that we used, I'll go ahead and click Find. So here's the transactions that we ran on the card ending in 2220. So you can see the date and time, invoice number, the dollar amount, and you can still go into the details of any of these transactions as well. So if you want to look up a transaction, go into the details and say print or email them a copy of the receipt, you can do that right from here. So this is pretty much the reporting tool that we have for you to be able to view all of those previous transactions you ran. So like I said, this is more of an administrative reporting tool. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Stephen. I'm sure Stephen has a couple of things that he wants to say as well.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that introduction, Vanessa. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and take control of the screen here. So what you've just seen are 2/3 of the eBiz Charge suite that we're presenting to you today. John Brennan showed you how to run transactions in several different manners inside of eBiz Charge for XactMacola, right? And then Vanessa took over and showed you where all those transactions go, the reporting tools that you have available, how you can search for an individual transaction, how you can go in and view a previous transaction to email or print a receipt after the fact, or issue a sale or a credit. What we want to show moving forward is the third key piece, which is eBiz Charge Connect. This is the newest piece of the eBiz Charge suite. We're extremely proud of it. The customers who have started using this piece are really, really impressed, and we've had some wonderful feedback from them. eBiz Charge for XactMacola and eBiz Charge Connect talk to each other. Likewise, eBiz Charge for XactMacola and eBiz Charge Connect both talk to the eBiz Charge Gateway. I'll explain a little bit more about how that works. So in eBiz Charge for XactMacola, and John Brennan went through most of this for you a few moments ago, so I'll be brief, you're essentially allowed the ability to accept credit card payments inside of XactMacola itself. If you choose to save your customer's credit card on file, you can do that, and you don't have to worry about PCI compliance. We tokenize the credit card information, meaning that your customer's credit card number is kept safe and secure on our servers. Nothing about the credit card except for the last 4 digits of the card is ever kept anywhere on your XactMacola system or on your server in your office at all. So if a hacker or someone were to breach your computer system, if someone were to break physically into your office building, there would be no full credit card numbers for them to acquire. So you get the best of both worlds. You're safe, your customers are safe, there's no information on your system that can be compromised, but you also get to keep your customer's credit card information on file for reuse. Okay? The eBiz Charge Gateway, which Vanessa just finished showing to you, is where you would go for all of your reporting. Again, like all of the eBiz Charge suite of products, it's PCI compliant. Your history is unlimited. So from the day you start processing credit cards with us, or for our current customers who might be on the call, from the day that you started running credit cards with us, you can view every single day's activity and every single transaction, including all the details for every card that you've ever run, which is really, really nice. You don't see that a lot. It's also a piece that's compatible in a number of other ways with different systems. If you have a website and customers are able to make payments directly on your website, we can sync up eBiz Charge with that. If you have sales folks who go to trade shows, or they go to events, or they go on site and they need to run a credit card payment on their mobile device, their smartphone, their tablet, we have an eBiz Charge application that's included as part of this suite as well. That's tied in with the gateway. We also have a standalone product called eBiz Charge Desktop, where you can run credit cards outside of XactMacola. If for whatever reason you're not going to be invoicing the customer in XactMacola directly, you have a separate software piece that you can run credit cards in that, again, will show all of your transactions in this one central eBiz Charge gateway. The last and I think most exciting piece that I'm going to have Vanessa introduce to you here in a second is eBiz Charge Connect. This is an e-invoicing portal that you could send to your customers and allow them to view all of their outstanding invoices. They can see all the invoices, they can check off one or multiple invoices. They can enter their own credit card information in, and it's also tokenized and 100% PCI compliant, so you don't have to worry about where that credit card information goes. It's not going to be stored either locally on their system or on yours. And they can make payments on those invoices. What's even more amazing is we have integrated this directly to eBizCharge for XactMacola, meaning when you create your invoice in XactMacola, it gets sent out to the customer. They have the option to pay with eBizConnect and make the payment themselves. If they take that option and they enter their credit card information and make a payment to you, that's going to reflect back in XactMacola. So at this point, it's Vanessa time. Vanessa, I'm going to let you take it away so you can show us eBizCharge Connect.
All right, awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm again going to pull up a web browser really quick. So the first thing or the first piece that I'm going to show you is the customer side. So this is what all of your customers will see when they log into the portal to pay off any of their invoices or manage their account. So each customer will have their own username and their own password, and if it happens to be that your customer needs multiple usernames and passwords, we can go ahead and set that up for you. So I'm going to go ahead and log in as the customer, new bike. And what I'm going to see when I log in is the invoice that I have that is currently outstanding. So this is customer information that comes from Macola. So as the customer, I do have an invoice that is outstanding for $1,495. If I want to go ahead and pay a partial payment, maybe I'm only going to pay off $400, I can go ahead and type in how much I want to pay. But if, let's say, for example, I just want to pay off the whole thing, I'm going to go ahead and check off that line there. And it's going to autofill the $1,495, and at the top you can see that that is how much I owe. In addition to invoices, you do also have the option to add in any credits or refunds that you may owe your customer. So you can upload the invoices that you owe them, that they owe you, and you can also upload the credits that you owe them, and they could use that to apply it to the invoice. In this case, this customer does not have any credits that we owe, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump to the Make a Payment tab. So in here, I have a couple of different options. If I happen to have a credit card that's already saved on file, I can go to the Saved Payment Methods. And this will allow me to select any credit card that I have stored on file. The other option that I also have is I can add in a new credit card if I want to. So if I want to go ahead and come in here, so my name is, let's say, Bill Withers. My address is 20 Main Street. And here's my zip code. I'm going to go ahead and type in my card number here, the expiration date, and the security code on the back of the card. The Pay Now button is what I'm going to use to process the transaction. So at this point, we'd either get an approval or a decline. So in this case, we did get an approval. If I want to send myself a copy of the credit card receipt, I can just go ahead and type in my email address, hit email receipt, and it'll automatically send me a credit card receipt. Now, the other option that I also have in here is I can view any of the payments that I have previously made. So under Reports, if I go to the Payment History, here's that invoice that I just paid off for $1,495. Now, this is only showing me the history that I have for today. I can go back as far as when I first started paying off invoices within eBizCharge. All of my invoices I can export to a Word document or straight to Excel if I need to. The other option that I have in here is I can manage my own account. So I can go into the Manage Payment Methods, and I can, in this case, add a new card if I want to, or I can delete any of the credit cards that I have on file. So let's see, I have a couple of cards here. If I want to go in, select a card, and let's just say I'm never going to use this card again, I can just go ahead and delete it right from here. And all of this that happens, it does go back into Macola because they do communicate. So this is going to be the customer side. So this is what your individual customers will see when they log in to pay off their invoices. The next part of this is actually the admin side. So this is what you as the merchants will see every time you log into your portal to maintain all of your customers. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to log in here. And what I can do is pull up all of the invoices that I have that have been paid. So here's a list of all of the invoices. There's my customers, the payments that were made, and the dates that they were made as well. If I'm looking for a particular customer, so that 969 customer that I had just paid off, all I have to do is click on my customer ID, hit refresh, and there's that payment that was just made. This payment history can also be exported to a document or to Excel. Inside of here, you can also manage all of your customers. If maybe there's customer information that needs to get updated, I can go into my customers, select the customer ID, and I can see any of their history, so the payments that they've made. If I want to manage the users, if I go in and I look at that new user ID, new bike, maybe Bill is no longer with the company and someone else has taken over. Bill's retired. I can go in here and I can update that information. Maybe the email address has changed or there's a different phone number. Maybe they've forgotten their password and you need to update it for them. You can come into the user ID and you can change the password. And one of the nice little things that we have here is you can require that your customer change their password when they log in. So you can give them a temporary one. This way you have no control over, you have no knowledge of what their passwords are, none of their card information, nothing like that. So it kind of removes you guys from maintaining all of this information. And the really nice thing about all of this, as Stephen had said, is it all goes back to eBizCharge. So all of the payments that you have made within your Macola system will come into the gateway as Macola, and any transactions that your customers make through the eBizCharge Connect do go into the gateway as eBizCharge Connect. So you'll know exactly where your transactions are coming from, and you'll always be able to view all of that history as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pass this back over to Bryce, and there's a couple of things that he wants to mention to you.
Okay, thank you, Vanessa. Okay, so we've seen all the demos. We've seen eBizCharge Suite. So at this point, we are going to open it up for some Q&A. And once again, you have the ability to send in a question through the participant window on the WebEx, or you'll have the ability to raise your hand, and we'll get through as many questions as the allotted time that we have. Greg, can we please begin with a couple of questions that might have come in through the message board while our participants raise their hands?
Yeah, we actually did have a couple questions come through Q&A. First of all, thank you, John. Thank you, Vanessa, Stephen, Bryce, for the presentation. We did have one question that came in. Walter Gould was wondering if invoices paid by check also show up in the invoices history list.
Yeah, at this time, the answer to that, Walt, is no. We are not going to integrate it to the check processing yet. That might be a future enhancement, but as of the release here, we're not going to include that yet. But I will definitely keep you updated on when and if that happens.
Another question just about the customer portal. They're wondering if the eBizCharge Connect portal can be branded with their company's logo or their company's branding.
I'll take that.
Okay.
So yes, it absolutely can. So when Vanessa was running through her demonstration of eBizCharge Connect, you probably noticed in the upper right-hand corner the eBizCharge logo. When we actually set this up for you, should you start using the eBizCharge suite, we would ask you for a high-res, high-quality image file of your company's logo, and that would be the logo displayed in that upper right-hand corner. So when your customers log in to pay off their invoices, they would see your company's name, your branding at the top. It would not say eBizCharge.
Awesome. One of the questions, individual noticed that the eBizCharge Connect product allows us to take e-check payments. So does that mean that, like credit card, our customers can use e-checks through the eBizCharge platform?
Yeah, so that relates to the question that Walter asked. Currently, no. In the future, probably yes. We are just launching this as an application for credit cards at first. And then in the future, there might be an enhancement run where we do accept check payments through it as well.
Actually, this is Len Rio. I have a question. Maybe when we just open the phone line here, we can clarify this. As it relates to checks, I'm not sure if Walter meant, in fact, can you just unmute the lines? Is there any reason why we can't?
I can do that, yeah, sure.
Just ask Walt the question, because what I was wondering is, are you thinking that this could be like an actual customer statement showing how checks have been applied to their open invoices, but initially this is designed to present only open items, open AR terms invoices, or open credits that are applied to the account. So are our phone lines open?
They are. Walter, you're free to ask away.
Len, secondarily, yes, I guess as a statement or being able for that customer to look at just all invoices that were paid secondarily, but what I was really going for was, I'm assuming, without getting too technical, I'm assuming the process for the eBiz charge to be able to see those invoices is we'll have to do some kind of an upload. So I was wondering, when we do that upload, will that upload be filtered to only do invoices or orders that were credit card terms, or will all invoices be uploaded to that customer's record? But I didn't want to get technical.
Oh,
I don't want to turn this into.
No, that's actually there's two questions in there. I'm glad you asked that. First of all, this is going to be customer specific, meaning if you only deal with customers that are credit card, maybe they're from e-commerce sales or whatever the case is, there would be no need to have to give them the eBiz charge portal because every card would have already been transacted via credit card and settled that way. This is predominantly for all of the AR terms customers so that you can give them the convenience of paying with a credit card, either because they want to extend their terms by putting your 30-day invoice on a credit card, or because they would prefer the security of using this eBiz charge portal to just settle it via credit card. But keep in mind that from a security perspective, even if they're going to deal exclusively with credit cards and you establish, say, a new customer, you can send them the link to create their logon for the portal, for the eBiz Charge Connect portal. They can enter their credit card information there, and very much like PayPal, you the merchant, would never have heard or seen or entered or received electronic information about their credit card information.
Exactly. That's how I was looking at using this for us as just an option, even for credit card customers, so they don't have to give it to us over the phone or fax in a credit card form or something like that. We can simply say, thanks for your order. In your order acknowledgement, there'll be a link, where you can go and pay this invoice, so you don't have to give us your credit card. That's how I'm kind of looking at it for us to be most useful for security.
Yeah, that would be a good way to go too. I hadn't thought about the order acknowledgement, but that makes all the sense in the world. Okay.
Sal Santos, I saw you had a question come up over the Q&A, but if you just wanted to ask Len directly, go ahead and ask your question in as much detail as you want.
Okay, thanks. What I was asking is we don't currently have a service contract with Macola. We're running version 9.5, and would this be a problem with the eBiz suite?
Not if there's two caveats. One is Windows XP workstations and this application won't work together. So you have to have Windows 7 or above.
Yeah, I got rid of XP as quick as I could.
Okay, great. And then and then the application does require the flexibility application. So
yes, we have it. That's actually currently used with some other products.
Perfect. Even if you already have flexibility on the order entry application, the order entry screen, we just nest it right in there, and it works perfectly well. So it sounds like you're in good shape.
Great, thanks.
Awesome. There are a couple other chat questions that I do want to get to. Question was, how will I know if a customer has made a payment using eBiz Charge Connect?
Vanessa, would you like to handle this one? or you want me to talk in general?
No, I can handle that. So
okay.
When a customer makes a payment through Connect, what you'll actually see is it'll be inside of your matching. So you would have to manually match it as if you did an AR cash transaction through Macola. So like John was showing you before, where you clicked on the icon and you made a payment, when you went into your matching under cards, you do the same thing. So all of the transactions that were made through Connect would show up in that list, and you can just go in and manually match them together with the invoice that's due. The other thing that we also have is you can receive an email every time that a credit card transaction is processed. So once the transaction is processed through Connect, you'll receive an email that says that this customer has made a credit card payment. It'll give you dollar amounts, and it'll give you invoice number as well. So you kind of have two ways of knowing how someone makes a payment.
Awesome. And then, Vanessa, another one that might be probably best to be handled by you. The question is, will the merchant, be able to log on to the eBiz Charge Connect portal as the customer, or will those logons be restricted strictly to the customers themselves?
The usernames technically would be restricted to the actual customer, but that does not mean that they cannot create a username under the customer's account to be able to log in and do whatever they need to do under the customer side.
And then can the individual merchant choose which customers they want to include with the eBiz Charge Connect?
Yeah, we answered that one a minute ago.
Oh, I apologize.
You could be very selective as to which customers you want to have this information regularly uploaded, just because some customers, for example, it might be the U.S. government that doesn't pay that way, or somebody may be paying by ACH, or why would you want to, bother them with this email that doesn't apply to them?
And I guess the last question that came in over chat, do I have to upload invoices to eBiz Charge, or will that be automated? Which I think might kind of touch on what we just talked about.
Yes, that the upload we will work together to set the upload frequency. Maybe it's once a week, maybe it's once a month, whatever the case might be. Or in the case of like with FSR, if it's an order acknowledgement, well, that would be slightly different, but that would happen instantaneously. Yes.
All right, well, that was our chat questions. We do have the lines open for.
I think there's one more chat question.
Oh, no, that was Sal's question. We got to that. Oh, I guess this is just basically how easy is this to set up, and how long does it take to install?
Maybe John can handle that one.
Actually, thank you very much, Len and Greg. Setting it up is really relatively simple. It takes probably about an hour, and we make some changes, add some tables, add some flexibility code. Then we go in and we train you. The entire process should take no more than 2 hours. It is relatively simple. We do need sysadmin access, but other than that, we can pretty much do it unattended.
And Sal, to answer your question that you just sent over, we are recording this webinar, and the video will be made available. It's going to be about maybe tomorrow afternoon to just convert the file and get everything, available to email out a link. But yes, to answer your question, I'm making a note right now. I'll be sure to forward that off to you as soon as we have it available.
Great, thank you.
If there aren't any other questions on chat, we do have the lines open, so feel free to engage. And if there are any additional questions, we got pretty much everyone on the line right now that you'd need to talk to.
Hello, this is Bert Steinbaugh, Virginia Abrasives, and the question is whether there's a specific fee associated with this Connect module.
Hi, Bert. This is Bryce over at Century. No, our current clients, there's no additional cost for using the eBiz Charge Connect portion of it. It's a enhancement. It's nothing that we're going to charge you for. So if you would like to use it, we can get all set up for you.
Okay, thanks. When we were talking about you can choose, you know, daily, weekly, monthly for your synchronizing your the AR that you're going to show to the customer, is that set on a schedule where you set it once and then you walk away from it and it takes care of itself on its own, or is it a process where a person has to manually go in and say, okay, I want to sync this thing up now?
No, it would be set on a schedule, Bert. So it would be automated. I suppose we could also build in a upload now switch, but you know, I don't, because they're invoices on terms. Chances are it's probably okay to just do it every X days or once a week or once a month, however you might want to set it up. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, so I guess part of what you install is there'll be some kind of it's really just a configuration part of that installation where you tell it how frequently and it just happens, right?
That's correct. That would be set up on an administrative console screen. Mm-hmm.
All right, are we taking any questions regarding the current application other than the enhancement here that we're talking about, or should we do that offline?
No, go ahead.
So we have an issue where we go inside of Macola into an order and we may authorize it the first time we exit the order, or we may know that, okay, I've got some more work I got to do on this order, so I'm not going to authorize it. So it's not 100% clear which way we're going to go when you exit the order for the first time. So now I go back into the order the second time, and I can't remember, did I authorize this thing or not? I know on the first release of the software that we used, it remembered and would flag to the user, hey, you've already authorized this order, and it no longer does that. And we've inquired about that once or twice and haven't been able to get that resolved. If there's something wrong with, if that's a general issue related to one of the upgrades we had, or if there's something specific to our installation that's not correct.
John, I don't know if you are up to speed on that.
I got it. Actually, the issue is, and Bert would put you in enhancements and bug fixes. There are other organizations that have the same issue. They want to know whether it's already been pre-authorized, and we did take that warning message out. It's on our enhancement list, and we'll be coming out with an enhancement. Len, I believe we're looking for the beginning of April, if I'm not mistaken. And that is in the enhancement list. I'd have to check with the developer, but I think we're going to be putting that back in for you.
Okay,
right.
Thanks. Donna, did you have anything on your list you wanted to bring up?
No, because it looked like they had this. It looked like because it was the other.
So we're good, and you just had the one on. Yep. Okay, I think that's all we had. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
We are. By the way, we are interested in that Connect module. That does look like something that could be useful to us and our customers.
Great, I believe so, and I really, the rules are getting so strict regarding handling anybody's financial data. If at all possible, thinking through a process by which you give the customer the eBizCharge Connect platform, regardless of whether they're going to be on credit card completely or not, just to enter and maintain their own credit card data, I think is just plain good business. It's like, hey, we want to make sure that we are 100% secure in dealing with each other, so I do not want your credit card information. Here's the link. You are going to enter it on a secure platform, and we're going to work together on that basis.
Very good.
Awesome. Well, seems like the questions are kind of petering off here. So I just want to take a moment here to thank Bryce, Stephen, Vanessa over at Century, John from our team, and Len for joining us today. I want to thank everyone who jumped on the call. We appreciate you taking some time out of your day to join us, give us some really valuable feedback on the product. We're always trying to enhance it and improve it to make it better for you, so we do value your input and information. Len, if you have any closing comments?
No, thank you everyone for attending.
Awesome. Enjoy the rest of your day, folks, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.